It's February 1913, and coal miners in the coal fields of West Virginia are on strike. Miners in the tent colony of Holly Grove in Kanawha County are gathered around the body of Cesco Estep, who had been killed by Gatling gun fire moments ago. The gun was fired from a Chesapeake and Ohio Railway train full of mine guards, the county sheriff, deputies, and mine operator that wanted revenge for an attack on mine guards that took place earlier that day. The train would go by different names, but everyone shuddered when they heard the whistle of its most famous name, the Bull Moose Special. Details surrounding the attack can be found, but some accounts online differ. That makes researching this story a little tricky, but an interesting challenge. A lot of information in this video is from a book I own called The West Virginia Mine Wars, an Anthology, which has basic information, but the most interesting part is that it includes actual transcripts from the court cases. I will be including a lot of info from the testimony of Maud Estep, the wife of Cesco Estep. According to the testimony of Maud Estep, it was between 10 and 11 p.m., and her husband, his cousin, and another woman were in their makeshift house settling in for the evening. Reports say a church service was in progress in the colony, but the Esteps had chosen to stay home. You see, Maud was pregnant at the time, and it was very, very cold outside. Suddenly, gunfire erupted from the train tracks, and her husband hurried everyone into the cellar. Estep said her husband rushed her into the cellar and told her to stay there, and he turned out the door. Seconds later, a shot hit Estep's cousin in the leg, and another killed Cesco. Maud testified that she didn't know how or what had happened at the time because so much gunfire was going off from the railroad tracks, and it wasn't until after the firing stopped that she realized something was wrong. There had been many clashes during the strike of 1912 through 1913, and brutality was increasing on both sides. Having had enough, the county sheriff commissioned a war train filled for a trip into the miners' camp. The train was a Chesapeake and Ohio Railway locomotive with 2 coach cars, 2 baggage cars full of weapons, and 1 baggage car had a Gatling gun installed. One of the mine guards on the train, Lee Calvin, testified that when the train reached the junction near Holly Grove, the sheriff ordered every man take a rifle and not to worry about raising windows because they could shoot through them. Calvin said as they approached Holly Grove, they were ordered to turn the lights low in all of the cars. As the engineer gave 2 blasts of the whistle, the men in the train opened fire into the camp. Calvin testified that he saw occasional gunfire from the camp, but it started after they opened fire. After about 30 seconds of shooting, the train moved on past Holly Grove. Quinn Morton, who was president of the Paint Creek Operators Association and was one of the mine owners, began running up the train, yelling, "Let us back up and give them another round." And they did. More gunfire was poured into the colony as the train passed. Lee Calvin made a comment to someone about how he didn't trust the C&O employees who were involved in the attack and who helped pass out the rifles. Later, Calvin testified that at the Hotel Ruffner, he was beaten in a locked room by the C&O employees for his comments. Ultimately, an agreement was made to end the strike in mid-1913, but the impact of the Bull Moose Special was never forgotten in West Virginia. Years later, when another major strike occurred in the state, cries of the Bull Moose Special became a rallying cry for striking miners and the United Mine Workers of America. As for details of the locomotive and cars involved, not much is known. It is reported in a few sources that the armored train was assembled in the Huntington yard. There is a photo that allegedly shows the locomotive that was involved, but this has never been identified or proven to be true. To me, it looks like a 280 consolidation locomotive, which would have been common in the Huntington yard at the time. Thank you all for watching this video, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback on this story. This is one of those stories from American railroading history that doesn't get talked about much, and that's exactly why I wanted to share it with you all today.